Welcome back to the show, guys. Today we're trying something a little different. Today we got no guest. It's just yours truly, Mo. I'm just gonna come on, talk about UFC 315. I'm gonna try to make it surgical and nice, quick, straight to the point. Just get my thoughts out there and smoke this joint while I have some fun. So all right, let's just get to the meat and potatoes or the juice and the Hennessy, as I like to say, baby. Let's go. UFC 317, man, it did not disappoint. Charles Oliveira versus Ilya Tempura. God damn. Pause. God damn. I think we're witnessing the next rising star, man. Honestly, I see a lot of comparisons between Ilya and Conor, and I think it's valid, bro. Double champ and just the people he's put out. I think at the time that Conor became double champ and when Ilya became double champ, I think it's a very similar comparison for sure. But anyways, before I get to that, we'll just start from the top, man. Opening the card up, we had Talbot versus Lima. Dude, I totally thought that Lima was Douglas Lima's little brother because I know Douglas Lima has a little brother that fights. So I was like, damn, is this Douglas Lima's little brother? But nah, no relation. Talabet versus Lima. It was a good fight, man. Talabet, he's had a lot of hype behind him when he came into the UFC. He's only lost one fight. I believe it was his last fight. I can't remember who it was against, but that was his first L. I think for his whole MMA record, I think that was his first L, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But came back, fought Lima. It was a good fight. Lima, I think he did a good job. He seemed to be the more powerful striker. He seemed to have more power, be a little bit faster. But Talbot just was able to put combinations together. His groundwork was insane. It was actually kind of funny because I'm watching the fight, dude, and Talbot clearly has an advantage on the ground, right? And Lima is doing better on his feet. I don't know if I would say he has an advantage. It's pretty even, but he was doing better on his feet. But Lima kept trying to take him down, and Talbot, instead of working the ground, which was his advantage, he would sweep him. He would just get off of him and let him back up. It seemed like they were both trying to do what they weren't good at, I guess, or what the other person didn't wanted them to do. I don't know. I don't know how to describe that. I'm a little high. I already smoked bong toke. But anyways, interesting to see, right? But yeah, Talbot, he came back with that dub. Shout out Talbot, shout out Lima. That was in the bantamweight division, Talbot, he's got that card's stacked. We got Merab, Umar, O'Malley, Sandhagen. That's a stack. Hey, my hat's off to you, Talbot. Speaking on Sandhagen, O'Malley, I want to see this card. I think they're in the talks of it right now. I think for bantamweight we could do O'Malley versus Sandhagen, and then I would give Umar the rematch to Merab. Dana, let's make it happen. Hit my line. All right, moving on. Dariush versus Moicano. Hold up, let me light this fucking joint real quick. I'm a fan of Betty because, King's MMA, it's right here, Anaheim, HB. I'm from Orange County, so, just growing up, always, you always got to rep your own. So I've always been a fan of Dariush. His style is not really my style, but he's entertaining to watch. And I really felt like the UFC kind of fucked him earlier on in his career by not giving him the title fight, or a chance at the title fight. But here he is, doing what he does. He fought Moicano. I'm going to be honest. I thought Moicano, if I would have put money on it, I would have put money on Moicano. Dariush came through, though, and showed us why we shouldn't doubt him, Sorry, I'm trying. Multitasking is hard, man. Side note, dude, my job's cannabis just got gold in a cannabis cup. It was for the state fair. I don't remember what categories we entered. We entered a few categories, but we won gold in one and silver in another. So shout out Genuine, you guys rock. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I thought Moicano, I thought he'd be able to pull it through, but Dariush came through, man. His left kicks really. His left kicks really made it hard for Moicano to get comfortable. He was slamming a lot to the body, slamming a lot to the legs. And his wrestling, dude, once he grabbed Moicano, it just seemed like Moicano could not get him off. He just was struggling to break apart his grip, and eventually, Dariush just took him down. When they got back up, it just back to the left kicks. Moicano threw a couple good punches. He landed a good cross in there that sent Dariush's head back. I remember there's some, he did some work, but Dariush, baby. Next fight, dude, we had Royval versus Van. Dude, Van, I'm a fan of Van, Southeast Asian. I'm Vietnamese. I gotta rep my people. Royval, though, I've always been a fan of Royval. He's had some great fights in the UFC. I'm sorry, pause for this hit. Yeah, Royval about it. He's like the number one contender. And Van was, I don't even know if Van was ranked. He might have been like 10 or 12, if I remember correctly. I did not think that Van was gonna get the dub. I mean, if for those of you that didn't know, Van took the dub. It was a great performance, man. He just seemed to be the more powerful striker, more willing to stay in the pocket. You know, it seemed like Royval just couldn't get Van to respect his punching power. You know, it seemed like his punches were doing way less damage than Van. You know, I'm starting to get high, so mind is wandering. Yeah, Van was just down, dude. He just stayed in the pocket and was willing to accept like I mean, obviously Royval being the taller fighter, Van's gonna have to come in or let Royval come in and then try to counter, and he was pretty comfortable with that. He just kind of waited till Royval would come in like with the 1-2 or something, and he'd kind of try to counter with the cross or his own combination. Van was just relentless, dude. Honestly, dude, I think in the second round, Royval, he kind of started putting it together a little bit better. He started kind of working off the jab, a lot more jabs, and can't remember what else. I was also drinking, so my bad. But I remember he started establishing his jab around the second round, and into the third round, he was doing the same thing, and he started kind of like messing with Van, but Van just like pushed through it and dropped him in the third round, basically secured that fight. I would give round one to Van for sure. Round two, you could give to Royval. And so it was basically who took that third round up until the point where Royval got dropped. It was pretty even. It could have even been ended at a draw had it stopped like a minute into the third round. I think Royval started getting more comfortable, and he started trying to want to bang with Van, and he got dropped. He slipped up, got dropped, and oh man, I'm high. Shout out Genuine. I should call this segment Combat Sports and Cannabis, dude. Just smoke weed and talk about fighting. But yeah, Royval and Van, man. It was a good fight, dude. It was a good fight. Guess Van's going to fight Pantoja next, and that's going to be interesting, dude. I don't know, though. I don't know if he... I mean, I didn't think he had it for Royval, and he took it, so who knows? I could be wrong again, but man, Pantoja, he's just something else right now, dude. He fought... Same card. He fought actually the next card was actually Pantoja versus Kara Francis. Man, that was I knew Pantoja was gonna win, dude, but I did not it looked like he just went in a spot. Like at the end of the fight, I can't remember if there was any marks on Pantoja or anything. It looked like he literally just went through, had a light sparring match and then went home. Kara, he just could not, he couldn't get his boxing off, and the second Pantoja took him down, I think it was a few seconds into the first round. He light just clicked in his head. He just was like, I could take this guy down at any time, and that's basically what happened. They would have some exchanges on the feet, and then Pantoja would take him to the ground. I think it was around the second or third round, he secured rear naked. Oh, I'm starting to space now. I can't remember. This is when Uncle Mo started getting more tipsy and tipsy. We started inching closer to that Topuria fight. I started getting nervous. But I believe it was a rear naked, and I think it was around third round. Second or third round. It's a good fight, dude. Honestly, Pantoja doesn't really have any... I mean, there's no one really in that division that's been threatening him, so I honestly... I didn't think, Kara was going to take it, but I honestly thought he was going to not get choked out that soon, though. Yeah, so... I don't know what's next for Kara, but Pantoja, he's going to be fighting Van. That's going to be... that's cool. I'm with it. I mean, what else is in that division? And last but not least... Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, man, this fight was hyped so hard. I mean, dude, Pantoja, he's coming up to lightweight. He vacated his belt to basically go up, find this weight class. I mean, first of all, who does that, right? You beat some of the baddest foes, you get the title, and then you're just like, all right, I'm a dip, moving up. That's some that's some Pereira stuff right there. Like I said, a lot of people were comparing him to McGregor, and I see it, man. I see it. But yeah, so Ilia versus Charles. My thoughts before the fight. I'm a Charles fan, dude. I love Charles. I think he's cool. He's got a cool personality. He's got a cool style, man. His jiu-jitsu is insane. Muay Thai has improved tremendously. I would say off a technical standpoint, he's got some of the better Muay Thai in his division. I thought like if I was Oliveira, probably the best thing I could do is maybe just make sure you defend and stay as far as you can on the outside. He had a height advantage. I believe it was like 3-ish inches, I believe, right? So I was like, slam a lot of left kicks, teeps, just try to stay back, kick his legs, kick his body, kick his arms, just try to get some of that oomph off that power. And it looked like that was the game plan at the beginning. Charles went in there, hands glued to his face, that that high guard, tie high guard, and he was slamming low kicks, slamming body kicks. He was doing pretty good. I think he had a good strategy, but then Topuria just kept pressing him, and they just started going into some punch exchanges. I think Oliveira, when he started getting pressed, he kind of started getting a little overconfident. That's what I think it was, bro. I think Oliveira just wasn't respecting him enough. He was kind of staying too close to him and kind of playing around with him. And Kape, bro, they started having some punch exchanges, and then Ilya, he ends up shooting like a cross hook. Cross lands on the chin, hook lands on the chin. Honestly, it looked like Oliveira was already out off the first cross, but it knocks him out clean, dude. I don't even think Oliveira's ever been knocked out like that. I don't even know if he's ever been knocked out, period. But Ilya, man, he's the man, dog. He takes the belt. Man, I was watching some of their pre-fight like interviews and stuff, dude. Ilya and Charles, they seem like they're just stand-up guys, man. That's cool, like seeing stuff like that, especially in modern MMA where you kind of see a lot more of the shit-talking aspect. It was cool to see more of like the martial artists, come out in them. But Charles, I don't know what's next for him, but it's not over for him. You lose the fight, it happens. Ilya's like top dog right now, so it ain't anything. But Ilya, dude, I mean, what's next for Ilya? I mean, they're saying, I think. What did they say? I think that some people are saying Pimplet. I don't know, dude. I don't know if I mean Pimplet's cool, but I don't know if I want to see that. I guess because Pimplet's, I mean, he might take Topuria down, and that'd be interesting to watch. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I guess Pimplet and Ilya. Yep. Dude. When I was watching the clips, dude, I saw a little clip on IG of O'Malley, and he just watches Oliveira get knocked out by Topuria, and he goes, "Damn, dude." He's like, "Good thing he didn't accept my call out. That shit had me dying for O'Malley, dude. That was funny."
Oh! Holy! He's so good. That was clean. Was that a 2-3-2? 2-3. Holy f***. Islam versus Topuria needs to happen. He's up there with John Jones. Knocked out Bolt, knocked out Max, knocked out Charles. Islam next at 170. Holy f***. Who would even fight Ilya at 155 next? Holy f***. Thank God he didn't accept my call out.
Yeah, I think I'm leaving it at that. Nice short, straight to the point, dude. Maybe I'll do more of these, maybe I will. I guess we'll see if people tune in. I don't know, but that's it. Goodbye, guys.